G'day, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Isaac Butterfield, and welcome to the worst news show on YouTube, the Butterfield News Broadcast Server Systems. Hit the music. In tonight's top story, ladies and gentlemen, an absolute shocking event has taken place, and it's not funny at all. India's bathing festival concludes after dozens of fatalities and sewage in the river. India, there's a billion of you. Should not one of you come up with the idea that bathing in sewage is not the move? The 6-week Kumbh Mela, one of the world's largest religious gatherings, concluded on February 26 with millions taking a final ritual dip in the sacred river in Pijara, Uttar Pradesh. Authorities report that over 620 million people attended the event. Oh my God. 620 million people, and I hate to be, I don't want this to come across as racist, but 620 million people in the one area, and curry is quintessentially Indian, right? That's a stereotype. If they're all eating fucking curries, 620 million people with diarrhea is a fuck ton of diarrhea. So this festival is held every 12 years, but 620 million fucking people going to it. That is insane. And they believe that the river's waters cleanse the sins and grant salvation to the people there. And that's beautiful. I think it's gorgeous. And I think that the religions in India are actually, they're really beautiful, right? The color, the vibrancy that goes along with those type of religions. But I just think that the bathing in the rivers seems to be a bad move. Like, it happens all the time in the Ganges, right? The most important river when it comes to religion in India. But the Ganges is also somewhere where they put bodies and sewage and fucking all the other shit. All right. And then everyone's in there splashing their face with it and trying to cleanse and purify. And let me ask you this. If it wasn't the Ganges and someone just dumped their fucking granddad's ashes in a bathtub and took a shit in it, would you splash it on your head just in case it purified your soul? Now, I know some people might find this upsetting and offensive, but I just have to go out there on a limb and say this. India, stop it. Stop it. On to sport news, and you may remember this lady, Raygun. Yes, look at her go at the Olympics there. Wow, incredible stuff. Dancing like a young autistic man who just got his NDIS check in the mail. If you don't know what the NDIS is, it's the National Disability Insurance Scheme. It's where people with disabilities happen to get money from the government, which is fantastic. It allows them to do a lot of things in life, and I'm a fan of it, but I just think it's very funny to suggest that that's the check that's come in the mail for an autistic man and dancing around, and that's probably how he would dance, very similar to Raygun. You get my point. Anyway, Brendan Gunn, Raygun's brother, charged for allegedly dealing with the proceeds of crime. Wow. The brother of Olympic breakdancer Rachel Gunn, or Raygun, has been charged for allegedly dealing with the money that was the proceeds of crime. Brendan Gunn from Camp Hill in Queensland faced Sydney Downing Court, not Downey Court, Downing Court sent a local yesterday over one count against the criminal code. The Australian Securities and Investment Commission, ASIC, has alleged that he dealt with more than $100,000 in money or property that was reasonable to suspect were the proceeds of crime. Now, this goes on to say that it was something to do with crypto and he was in charge of a company, but who gives a shit, really? This is just a nice opportunity to talk about Raygun. And I never actually made a video about Raygun when she was going super viral. And I think right now is a better time than any to make my comments on Raygun and everything that she did. And I'm going to do it in the next 30 seconds. Here's a timer. Ladies and gentlemen, Raygun is the worst human being to ever live. I'm sorry, but the break dancing that she put forth at the Olympics was absolutely laughable. I don't know how she got into the Olympics, but there are break dancing young women all over this country that should have been there instead of her. It was absolutely disgraceful and fraught with pain and suffering from the very beginning, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you that. Also, I'd like to add, when a comedian in Australia decided to do a show about Raygun, she carried on like a fucking pork chop. But I should also say, you should have said it was a parody in the actual poster, because people may have assumed that Raygun was actually going to be there. It is my opinion, and my opinion only, that Raygun is a fucking wanker. No offense. And ladies and gentlemen, before we go any further, I'm on tour right now doing shows throughout Australia. Come and see me live. I'm at all these beautiful parts of well, some of them are beautiful, some of them are really gross, but I look forward to being a part of that grossness with you. Go and get your tickets right now at isaacbutterfield.com. Moving from ball bags in sport to ball sports, ladies and gentlemen, this is a story from Australia about schools banning kids playing ball sports at lunchtime or recess because it's not inclusive enough. Fuck you to the moon.
The rules for lunchtime play have been rewritten at a Surrey Hills school and it's outraged parents and students.
As it should. Fuck off.
But Bourke Street Public is backing its ban on ball sports, saying they're not inclusive, fair or fun for everyone.
Okay, Bourke Street Public. Let's just have a look at Bourke Street Public's website in Surrey Hills in Sydney. I just want to see who's running that shit show. Ladies and gentlemen, I went looking for their website. I wanted to see if the principal had some sort of blue-dyed hair, but I can't seem to find it. I don't know if they even have one. But I will say this, and probably the person who runs that school and has made that decision needs to hear this. Fucking suck a fat cock. What are you doing? You're creating a generation of weak people, weak men and weak women that are going to grow up and be a part of the world and not know how to deal with anything. Fucking idiots. Anyway, let's watch the rest of the video.
It's the inner city primary school that's banned the ball.
Pretty bad. I don't really like it because soccer's the best sport in the world.
Kids want to fucking kick balls. Christ, I've got a 2-year-old that loves running around kicking balls all day. Like, why would you take that off kids?
Concerned about kids being left out of games, Bourke Street Public School has given ball sports a red card, prohibiting students from playing soccer and basketball during lunch and recess and at after-school care.
Just came as a shock. We came back to school
nice helmet,
day
Mum.
one. And,
You'd think if you're going to be on the TV, you'd take your fucking helmet off. Okay, I understand that some kids get left out of, and they're not included in sports and fun and playtime. And I just want to say this. That's their nerdy ass fucking problem. If those four-eyed can't kick a fucking ball in the top corner of the goals, and they can't shoot a three-pointer at recess, then they can fuck off and suffer. Okay, I understand that it's very, very sad that kids get left out, but what do you do? Why do you punish everybody else, okay? And rather than banning something that includes a lot of children, find other things for these kids to do. Like, obviously, if a kid's sitting out, then maybe they need help finding friends, or maybe they need to find other things that they're more interested in. Maybe they're not interested in sports straight off the bat. Maybe they want to do other things. Maybe they find other things fun. Why don't you help them with that?
Now, instead of free play, kids can only participate in structured activities on a roster, with the basketball court only allowed to be used for skipping.
For fucking skipping?
And on the soccer pitch, it's gymnastics.
Gymnastics? Oh yeah, that's heaps inclusive to kids in wheelchairs doing fucking flips, dickheads.
I think it's really bad. I think they should be able to play in the playground as much as they can.
Listen here, cockhead, brush your hair, but I agree with you.
But at the school gate, parents are divided.
There's always two sides to this stuff.
No.
I don't think they've overreacted.
No.
I'm okay with it.
I think it's a non-issue. Yeah. Everyone just needs some space.
Why?
And it's fair to share.
What the fuck does that mean? Some space, it's fair to share. Let them kick a ball.
The issue is expected to dominate next week's P&C meeting, with parents being encouraged to attend and have their say.
The decision tonight being backed by the Education Department, which blames a small play space.
Okay.
But the Premier believes it should be game on.
Kids have got to burn off energy. If that's not happening, that's a problem.
Yeah, I agree. And you know what? People talk shit about that dude, Chris Minns. He's the governor, the premier of New South Wales. He came out last week, and in Australia, we don't have the access to full-strength beer at sporting events. I don't know if you knew this, but we don't. It's fucking madness. You go to the football, you can, for $10, you get a half-strength fucking beer. He came out last week and said, if you're an adult, you should be able to make adults' decisions, such as buying a full-strength beer. Good fucking on him. I like that. That's very good. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I've been doing some thorough research and I think I found out why they actually banned all of these sports in the first place, specifically soccer. A football game has been called off after a referee got bitten in the balls by a child. Now, if I was a principal of a school and a soccer match ended in a referee being bitten on the balls by a child, I'd probably have to say, hey guys, let's probably stop that for a little bit and do some skipping and some gymnastics, because there's far less biting of the balls that happen in those sports than soccer. But I am very interested in this story. Why did a child bite and how? How does a child bite a referee on the balls? Let's find out. A low-tier German, of course it's in Germany, football match between FC Taxi 2, what a terrible name, and Rot-Weiss Melheim. I'm sorry, Germany, but your language, the way you people speak, was destined to be caught up in some world-dominating attempt like what happened in the 30s and 40s, all right? Just the way that you speak. Like, listen to the soccer team. Does this not sound like world domination planning? Rot-Weiss Melheim III. That sounds like you want to take over the world. Anyway, it got called off after referee Stefan Kollefer had his balls bitten by an unruly child. As Koller checked players over before a game, a child of one of the players ran up and bit him on the left nut. So it wasn't even a child playing in the game. These were adults playing. Wow. Kolher reportedly buckled over in extreme pain, but had no choice but to call off the game. The two clubs will now have the game rescheduled for later in the season. I actually heard reports, and these are unconfirmed, that the child was actually employed by the wife of Kolher to sever his vas deferens for free, so he didn't have to get a vasectomy, because he kept pumping kids into his German missus. And this German missus didn't want any more kids. She wanted more time to be shat on in their sex dungeon, allegedly, obviously. This is a joke. Shat on in their sex dungeon that all Germans have, and also pissed on. And thankfully, his vas deferens has now been severed and he can shit on his missus. Fuck yeah, good work, child who bit the nut. In his refereeing report, I'm glad he still had the ability to write that. While I was checking the FC Taxi players, a small child was doing warm-up exercises alongside the players. He came closer and closer to me, then suddenly, to my complete surprise, gave me a sharp bite on my left testicle. You can just hear Epstein's client list wishing they were a German football ref right now. Is this website humorous? I don't think this is like a proper news website. They don't usually have callbacks to Epstein's client list. In the final piece of this brilliant news report, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to talk about this lady, this influencer, who came to Australia and picked up a wombat. An influencer from the United States decided to come over to our beautiful country and she just picked it up. A small wombat. Now, ladies and gentlemen, in the video, you can see her picking it up. You can see her walking away from it and walking away from the mother with the child. And can I just say this? You can't do that, mate. Even though it wasn't, I think the overreaction was massive. And she's decided to react to all this by calling out Australia because we hunt animals and we cull animals and all this type of shit. And the reason we cull animals is because if you have an overpopulation of animals, all the little babies die of starvation. But anyway, I'll get past that. Yeah, she carried on like an absolute dickhead. She shouldn't have picked up the wombat. It wasn't as bad as everyone was making it out to be, but also just don't fucking pick up wombats. It's not that fucking hard. Let them crawl around. I wouldn't pick up a wombat. I'm pretty sure they bite. But the internet went into absolute meltdown over this, and apparently she received death threats, which I think is a bit outrageous. But it did seem quite sad. The little mother was like freaking out because its baby got picked up. And I tell you what, if some lady from America who was an influencer came over here and picked up my child, I'd fucking freak out as well. And I just want to finish the video by saying this. If you're not from Australia, you won't know this, but wombats are deadly. They kill more people than crocodiles in this country. You may not know about their vicious personality, but they murder. They attack. They don't just bite your balls and give you a little bit of trauma for an evening. They will leave you with generational trauma. This is what fucking wombats do. They go after everyone in your family. And this is what's going to happen to this poor woman from America, this influencer. She's picked up this fucking wombat, not trying to do any harm, but she doesn't know that the mother wombat has now got a plan like fucking Liam Neeson or Reacher to go after her entire family and take them out one by one. She should be terrified. She should be worried. Don't touch the fucking wombats. They're going to fuck you up. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of the video. That's the end of the news report. Be a good motherfucker. Peace in the Middle East. Me dick stinks. Toodle of war. Bye-bye.